everybody. Welcome to Game 2 of the 1982 NLCS as produced by the Strat-O-Matic PC as we were doing the NBC Game of the Week all during the 1982 season. And we've come to this, the Dodgers and the Expos. Game 2 from Olympic Stadium. Game 1, the Expos took it to Fernando Valenzuela early and often, and they lead 1-0. Of course, the Dodgers and Tommy Lasorda trying to correct that situation. So here we are at Exhibition Stadium. Exhibition. I keep calling it Exhibition Stadium. It's Olympic Stadium, dummy. Olympic Stadium here in Montreal. So let's get everything in place, and we'll look at the starting lineups as well, as I got them on the score sheet. A little bit of maneuvering, trying to shake things up a bit, perhaps. I don't know. Starting pitchers for today's game for the Expos, it is right-hander Charlie Lee, 12-10 with a 3.24 ERA and 27 starts. And on the mound for the Dodgers is Bob Ebony Eyes Welch. He's 16-11 with a 3.36 ERA and 36 starts. And he is trying to sentimentally get the Dodgers back in this race and even the series at a game apiece. You don't want to go down 0-2, even though you're going back to LA. To have to win 3 in a row is probably too much to overcome. So critical game for the Dodgers. Let's look at the starting lineups. I did go ahead and move Landro up to number 2 and drop Russell to number 8. That's pretty much the only switch. Other than I think I may have pushed Garvey ahead of Say. So we got Sachs, Landro, Guerrero, Garvey, Say, Baker, Socha, Russell, and Welch. And for the Expos, lineup pretty much the same, I do believe. I think I'd move Cromartie up because I sent him down the order to 6th. I flip-flopped Cromartie and Wallach when they were facing Valenzuela, but now the right-hander Welch is on the mound. Going to put Cromartie back up in his more familiar 5th spot. So we got Raines, Oliver, Dawson, Carter, Cromartie, Wallach, Spire, Flynn, and Lee. All right, got our dice, charts, everything seems to be in place. Starters in Game 3, back in LA, it'll be Bill Gullickson for the Expos and Jerry Royce for the Dodgers. And after that, if it goes to a Game 4, we'll figure out if Fernando comes back on short rest, which he very well may do, or do they go to their 4th starter for the Dodgers in a pressure-packed situation, and that would be Bert Hooton, but Bert Hooton was only 4-7 with a 4.03 ERA, so not sure if they're going to go to Bert Hooton. It all depends on the situation. They may, because Fernando got roughed up his first time around, so depends on what Lasorda wants to do, but he's got to get to a Game 4 first. That's before you worry about anything else. You got to get to a Game 4. All right, so we're ready for Game 2. Charlie Lee finishing up the warm-up tosses here on this Saturday, October the 16th. I'm recording it Saturday morning, hopefully to upload it Saturday afternoon. So hopefully you'll see this, 4 or 5 hours after I record it, depending on how long it takes for YouTube to upload these things. Sometimes it can take a while to upload. It's one of the downfalls of recording and uploading as opposed to a live stream. But the benefits to me far outweigh that because video quality is better. I'm not distracted by trying to keep up with the chat, so I can concentrate on the game. So there's a lot of benefits. Those that do the live stream, my hat's off to you. I found it to be a little overwhelming sometimes because it's hard to keep up with the gameplay and with the chat. I mean, one of them is going to, to me, in my mind, one of them is going to kind of suffer. You're either going to get distracted from playing the game and the game is going to take 2 hours, or you're going to get so enthralled in the game that you kind of lose track of the chat, and people try to chat and nobody responds, and they may get frustrated. And so my preferential is to do a recording, and I can record and upload in 1080p, whereas on live stream the best I can do is 720. So again, for the video quality, and most people that watch this aren't going to watch it even if it was live, they would catch it later. So just went that route, and I don't really have the equipment and stuff to live stream the way some of the other guys do, so I'm low budget. I just do what I can, and hopefully it's entertaining. And something worth viewing. We shall see. All right, so Charlie Lee facing off against Steve Sachs, and again, Dodgers back against the wall, even though it's only game 2. It's a 5-game series, so there's no time to mess around. Charlie Lee to Steve Sachs. Game 2 underway. 210. Sachs, that's a split chance. 1 to 2 is a double. Anything else is a single. That's a 1. So a leadoff double for Steve Sachs and Tommy Lasorda. Giving the nods up to Steve Sachs with that leadoff double. Trying to put the pressure on the Expos early. And now Ken Landreau, who did bat in the 7th position in game 1, has now jumped up to number 2 position here in game 2. Sachs will definitely have to be held on. We'll roll the havoc roll for Charlie Lee. Nothing's happening. So Lee to Landreau. 2-7 for Landreau. It's a fly ball center field B. That's 1 away. B question mark. And of course, as I play many games, sometimes the rules for specifics get a little fuzzy, so I've got to look this up. I've got the chart book in front of me, or the rule book in front of me. I don't know if you can go from second to third on a B question mark. I think you have to go from third to home on that, or the fly ball has to be to right field, not center field. And I'm not even going to waste time. I think I'm just going to keep it where it is. So Sachs will hold. Dawson's got a -2 arm, so you probably could run on him anyway. All right, so there's 1 away, and that'll bring up Pedro Guerrero. Dangerous Dodger hitter. Looking to do damage, 2-8, and he won't do it. He strikes out. So Charlie Lee trying to fight back after that leadoff double. And now he's going to face Steve Garvey. Garvey has moved up to the cleanup spot, and Ron Say has been switched to the 5th position. So Lasorda trying to shake things up and see if he can get something going. Garvey facing Lee. 6-11, and that's a ballpark single check. Ballpark singles, I forgot to mention, are 1 to 4 for righties and 1 to 11 for lefties. Home runs 1 to 6 for both. That's a 3, so the 4, that fits into the 4 for the ballpark card to be a single, but it's only 1 star. So Garvey gets the hit, but Sachs has to stop at third base. So runners are at the corners with 2 outs. Garvey will not be held at first. And that brings up Ron Say. Lee with the havoc. That's a 1. Chance for a wild pitch, and he's got a wild pitch rating of 1 to 10. We get a 1 to 10, Sachs will score on the wild pitch. It's an 11, so it's just blocked by Gary Carter. He just did get in front of it and kept it in front of him. Garvey thought about going to second, but thought better of it. And Charlie Lee now will face Ron Say. 2-12 and a Lomax, but there's already 2 outs, so there's no double play. It's just a line out right to Chris Spire. And right to Doug Flynn in second, and the inning is over. No runs, 2 hits, no errors, and 2 left. At the end of half an inning at Olympic Stadium, it is the Expos coming to bat as the Dodgers got zip in the first, and now Bob Welch will be on the mound for the Dodgers. See if he can fare better than Fernando, because Fernando got roughed up early and often in his start. He's going to face the dangerous Tim Raines. If you're the Dodgers, you want to keep him off the bases. 6-6 switch hitter batting left-handed, and that's a leadoff walk. That's bad news. And Lasorda just kind of bows his head in almost disbelief that he walked Tim Raines. So Raines definitely looking to get a jump. Let's do the catcher battery pitcher hold rating combinations. Welch is a -1. Socha is a -1, so it's a -2. Plus the -2 for being held makes him a total of a -4. And that would mean if he gets a jump, it's a 1 through 15. So let's see if he can get a jump, 2 through 6 or an 11. He does get the jump, so a 1 to 15, and Tim Raines will steal it. He does. Stolen base for Tim Raines, so he does what Tim Raines does. Tim Raines does what Tim Raines usually does, walk or getting on base and stealing a base. So he's at second base. He will have to be held. Nobody out for Al Oliver. Welch with the havoc roll, nothing happening. Here's Al Oliver. 111, and the 111 is a ballpark home run chance for both lefties and righties. It's 1 to 6, but that's a 10, so it will just be a fly, deep fly, out to right field, 1 away. It's a B, technically, not a B question mark, so Raines cannot go to third on that. There's no option for that. So with 1 away, here is the Hawk, Andre Dawson. Welch trying to get around early trouble the same way that Lee did. 6-7, and that's a 1-6 single. That's a 3. It is a single, but it's only 1 star. So again, runners at the corners. And this inning for the Expos starting eerily like the Dodgers inning. The difference is now the runner on first, unlike Garvey, who can't run very well or can't steal bases very well, Dawson is a definite threat. So we'll see if he can get a lead. 2 through 5, an 11 or a 12. 7, he cannot get the lead, so he will be held, but he won't go anywhere. And that'll bring up Gary Carter. A double play does get the Dodgers out of the inning, so they are at double play depth. Welch 1-6, and Carter says, "Don't worry about double play depth. I'm going to hit you a double. If you want a double, I'll give you a double." 1-17 is a double. That's a 1. It's 2 stars, so Dawson will have to hold at third. But the Expos strike first again and lead it 1-0 here in the bottom of the first over the Dodgers. And the Dodgers' woes on the card and dice continue. Computer loves them, but my cards and dice do not. So second and third with only 1 out. Infield's going to come in early. They don't know how many runs they're going to score, so they got to choke that run off. Welch with the havoc. That's a 1, so a wild pitch, 1-4, and he wild pitches in a run. He does not, so it's blocked by Scioscia. Cromartie is up. Infield is in against Welch. Got a 1-7 and it struck him out. So big strikeout for Welch. That's out number 2. And that brings up Tim Wallach. Had a big 3-run homer, I believe, in game 1. So he's certainly looking to do more damage. Infield is back to normal with 2 outs. Welch 4-6. That's a fly to right, and that's going to end the inning. So Welch escapes, just giving up the 1 run. The Expos take a 1-0 lead after 1. And Charlie Lee, we'll see how long he can keep that lead intact, as he will be facing Dusty Baker, manager of those 2021 Astros that are currently in the ALCS, facing the Red Sox. And the Astros won game 1 last night to take a 1-0 lead in that series. Here's Dusty Baker. 4-5, and that's a pop out to short. Spire brings it in, 1 away, and that brings up the catcher, Mike Scioscia. And you'll probably hear me sipping coffee as I'm doing this because I'm recording this in the morning. 4-7, struck him out against a lefty. So even the coffee's not helping the Dodgers. All right, here's Bill Russell, a little bit dejected about being dropped from the number 2 hole to the number 8 hole, but we'll see what he does. Here against Lee, 6-4. That's a ground ball third base X. Tim Wallach, he is a 3 E24. 3-1, that's a base hit, probably a double. So how about that? Bill Russell showing him I should be up higher in the order. 3-1 actually is going to be a single, not a double. It is a single. There's an 8 there. And he is an E24. Shouldn't be a problem. Nope, 9's an error, but not an 8. So it's just going to be a 2-out single for Russell, but what it will do is allow Bob Welch to hit. Russell will not try to get a jump. He will be held, but he's not going to try to steal because they don't want to have Welch lead off the next inning. So Welch, using pitcher hitting card number 2, will be up to face Charlie Lee. First, we'll check the havoc roll. 2, chance for a balk or a pass ball. Chance for a balk, and he's got a balk rating of 2. That's 13, so there's no balk. So Lee now pitching to Welch. 1-5, and that's a strikeout. You don't want to be off the pitcher hitting card in that situation, but he was. So no runs, a hit, no errors, and 1 left. We go to the bottom of the second. Still 1-0 Expos. Welch back out, and he'll be facing shortstop Chris Spire, bottom portion of the order. Chris Spire, Flynn, and then Lee. 1-8, and that, all these hits in column 1, and Chris Spire found a ground ball to third. Ron Say right there. And the Penguin throws over to Garvey, 1 away. Here's Doug Flynn. Welch, 5-7. Against a right-hander, that's a strikeout. So Welch, much better second inning. Comes up to the pitcher, Charlie Lee, who uses pitcher hitting card number 1. Whoops. Get a 5-9 off of Welch's card, and that is a strikeout. So sometimes the dice just know who's hitting. Doesn't matter if it's off the hitter card or the pitcher card. If a pitcher is hitting, a lot of times, mysteriously, the dice will find a strikeout on the pitcher card. Just seems to work out that way. So nothing doing there for the Expos. 3 up and 3 down. We go to the third, still 1-0. Top of the order for the Astros, for the Dodgers, Steve Sax. I see a domed-in AstroTurf Stadium, and it just, for some reason, the Astros came to my mind, and I have no idea why. All right, so Steve Sax against Charlie Lee. Sax doubled his first time up, but was stranded at third base. 4-8, and he's going to, this time he's going to triple. 1-3 is a triple, and that is a 3. I know it doesn't look like it, but that, the little white portion there is kind of faded at the corner there, but that is a 3. So that is going to be a triple for Steve Sax. He doubles, and now he leads off with a triple. Cycle alert for Steve Sax. I've never had a cycle in any of my games. I've had no-hitter. I've had a no-hitter, but I've never had a cycle. So this could be interesting. Sax, let's see, they're going to play the infield in. You know what? They're going to play the infield back because the chances of cutting off this run, they don't want to have a big inning. So if they get an out and he's still at third base, they may bring him in after 1 out, but with nobody out, they're going to play the infield back. They want to prevent the big inning. So just a ground ball by Landreau will tie the game. 3-7. He does better than that. He singles. There's a clutch there, but there aren't 2 outs, so it's just going to be a straight out single for Landreau. And we got a tie game at 1, so the Lasorda's perked up a little bit. And now Landreau has a chance to get a jump. And let's check out the battery for the Expos and see their ratings. Lee's a +2, Carter's a -3, aggregate -1, -2 for being held, aggregate -3. So if he gets the jump, it'll be a 1-15 if he can get the jump, which he needs a 3 through 6 to get the jump. And he gets the jump, so it's a, we figured it out, it's a 1-15 for Ken Landreau to steal second base. And he does not. He is caught. Gary Carter threw a pill down to second base, and Flynn puts on the tag. He's out 2-4. And now that smirk that was on Lasorda has now faded very quickly, as he can't believe Landreau got thrown out, but he did. So there's 1 out, base is clear. We are tied at 1, and here's Pedro Guerrero, so it's almost like a reset here. Guerrero, 3-3, that's a walk. So that caught stealing is looking a little bit more ominous. Now Guerrero has a chance at a 5 or a 6 to get a jump, and he would still have a 1-15 if he could get that jump. So we're going to try it again. 8 does not get the jump, so he will be held, but he can't get a jump, so he'll stand pat. And Steve Garvey is up. Garvey singled his first chance. I think it was on a ballpark single, if I'm not mistaken, which is why Sax only got the 1 base from second base. All right, so Lee facing Garvey with Guerrero at first and 1 out. Expos looking for the double play. 4-6. Nope, it's a fly to center, which is almost as good. That's 2 down. Expos will take it. That's 2 away for the Penguin, Ron Say. Again, roll for the Havoc. Nothing happening. Lee to Say, 1-8. And that is a single to left. There is a clutch, but the runner is not in scoring position. Had Landreau been at second base, this would be an out. This clutch would turn to an out. But since there's a runner just at first, that's going to hold up as a straight out single to left field, and Guerrero will stop at second base. He's not going to make the 3rd out at third base. There's no benefit to try that. Really, the risk is not worth it. So runners at first and second. Guerrero will be held at second base as Dusty Baker comes up with 2 outs and 2 on. Nothing on the Havoc. Lee to Baker. 4-10, and that's all these hits in the lower part of column 4, and he found a ground ball to short. So they go the easy way with it for a fielder's choice to end the inning, but the Dodgers do get a run to tie the game, and we go to the bottom of the 3rd, knotted up at 1. Much more nip and tuck game than what game 1 was. And now here's Raines to lead it off for the Expos. Half thought about playing Raines at second base and getting a better hitting outfielder to play left field, but I went with defense primarily for Flynn. And Flynn did have the majority of the bats. He had I'm sorry, he only had 193 at bats, but that's all right. I mean, I could go, you know, put Francona or somebody in left field and have Raines play second, but I think he was primarily, and this tells you he was primarily a left fielder, but he did play second, not very well. You're going to have a bad defensive middle infield if you do that, but it was a thought, and it still may happen. You never know. All right, here is Raines to Welch to Raines. 1-5, and he struck him out. So Welch seems to have settled in since that rough first inning. And now here's Al Oliver. 6-7, and that's a base hit. 1-4 is a double. That's a 7, though, so it will be a single for Al Oliver. It's not much of a runner. They're not going to hold him on, and he's definitely not going to go anywhere. So Andre Dawson, the Hawk, is up. Nothing on the Havoc. Welch to Dawson, 1-8. Ground ball second base C. That'll advance the runner to second base, so Oliver will take second. He is in scoring position with 2 outs for Gary Carter. And again, Oliver not being held on second base. Welch, nothing happening there. Here's Carter. 5-9. 5-9 to struck him out. That's going to end the inning. No runs, a hit, no errors, and a man left. 3 in the books, and nothing's been settled. We are tied at a run apiece here at Olympic Stadium. And don't adjust your cameras. And when I printed this, the printer made a little streak error, so that is something on my, it's not from Al Wilson. That's my fault for the printer not doing what it's supposed to do. So, and actually I printed this on cardstock rather than photo paper, so that's another reason why it doesn't look quite as nice as some of the other stadiums do, but I thought I would mimic what a trash bin Olympic Stadium was, so why not? Why try to beef that up when it's horrible? All right, here is Scioscia facing Lee. Top of the 4th, tied at 1. 1-8, line out right to Al Oliver. Hit it hard, but right to Oliver, 1 away. For Bill Russell, still miffed about being dropped to number 8 in the lineup. He did single his first time. 1-9, almost singled again, but this time Spire able to get to it. Throws him out, 2 up and 2 down, and that's going to bring up the pitcher, Welch, who's off pitch rating card number 2. Found his own card last time and struck out. Looking now to get off Lee's card, probably. Nope, it's off his own card again, 1-7. He's going to strike out again. So nothing doing there for the Dodgers. They go down quietly, 1-2-3. We go to the bottom of the 4th. Still tied at 1. And the Crow, Warren Camardi, will lead things off for the Expos. He did strike out his first time. 6-9 against a lefty. That's a fly to left, and Dusty Baker puts it away. 1 down. And that brings up Tim Wallach. 3-10 for Wallach, and that's a ballpark home run chance. 1-6 for everybody. That's a 7, though, so he just misses it. Deep fly to left on the warning track. Baker up against the wall makes the catch, and we almost had a 2-1 ball game, but Wallach just missed it. Here's Chris Spire. 2-5, and that's another fly ball to Dusty. He took care of all 3 of them. Kept busy out there. 3 up, 3 down. We go to the 5th. Still tied at a run apiece. Charlie Lee has a fatigue of 6. Welch has a fatigue of 7. So we're getting closer to Lee, but Welch is definitely still good to go. Here's Sachs. He has doubled and tripled. If he gets that single, then he'll be looking to get that, you know, not too many places to get a home run. He's weak on his card, so I don't know. Did he have any home runs? He had 4 in real life. So I don't, there's one little spot right here. He would need a 2, 8, and a 1 through 6 on a D20 to get a home run. Unless he found a ballpark home run. Well, even that wouldn't help because he's a weak power. So the only way he's going to get a home run is if we roll a 2, 8, and the D20 is a 1 through 6. That's the only way. So the cycle is not likely for Sachs. So kind of got enjoyed about that and then realized the odds. 5-5 struck him out. So he's worried about a cycle and he strikes out. So Sachs is out of there. Here's Landro. 4-4 against the lefty. Fly ball center field X. That's Dawson. He's a 1, so we know he's going to get to it. We're just checking for an error. He's an E9. E9 and a 12. So it shouldn't be a problem, I wouldn't think. Nope, 14 and 17 are errors, but not a 12. So good play for Dawson, 2 down. And that'll bring up Pedro Guerrero. Four, 5, and that's a pop out to short. Spire hauls it in. Another 1, 2, 3 inning, and that's 7 in a row retired by Charlie Lee, as he is certainly settled in. We go to the bottom of the 5th, still tied at 1. Now great hitter Doug Flynn stepping to the plate. 4, 6, and he flies to right field, hauled in by Guerrero, 1 away. For Charlie Lee, pitcher hitting card number 1, Charlie Lee. Looking to get something off of Welch. Nope, he's off his own card. 3, 6 is a ground ball to short. Russell is right there to take care of things. 2 up and 2 down, and here's Tim Raines. Walked and struck out. 6, 8 against a switch hitter batting left. 6, 8's a ground ball, second base X. That's Steve Sachs. He's a 2 E21. 2 and a 10 is good. He will get to that. E21 and a 10 should not be a problem. E21, nope, 13, 17, or a 4, but no 10. So it's a good play for Sachs. And now that is 8 in a row retired by Welch. And we go to the 6th. Still tied at 1. Here on this, maybe because I'm playing on a Saturday, they're more in step. Maybe playing on the weeknight, just threw them off. I don't know, but if I wait to play these things on every Saturday, this would be here till New Year's. All right, so here is Steve Garvey, 1 for 2 against Charlie Lee, 2, 6. For Garvey, he's going to ground it to Spire, 1 away. And that brings up the Penguin, Ron Say, 1 for 2, singled his last time up. 3, 4, struck him out. So both pitchers in the zone in these last couple of innings, and the offenses have gone stagnant. Here's Dusty Baker. 4, 6, and they're still stagnant. Fly out to Dawson to end the inning. And now that is 10 in a row retired by Charlie Lee. So we go to the bottom of the 6th. Still tied at 1. And Al Oliver will lead things off against Mr. Welch. Both bullpens are silent right now, and rightfully so. 3-3 is a walk. So those leadoff walks can come back to bite you. Oliver will not be held at first, though. He's just not much of a base stealer. Welch now will face Dawson. Looking to turn 2, 2-8. Up to ground ball pitcher B, so they won't turn 2. It will be a fielder's choice, though, to go 1 to 4. But Sachs with the relay not in time. Dawson, the new runner at first, and he's definitely a threat to get a jump. He needs a 2 through 5, 11, or a 12. Nope, can't do it. So he will not get the jump. He will be held, but he can't go anywhere. They're not going to try to run off the bad jump. So here's Gary Carter. 3-7 for Carter. That's a walk, and that's going to put 2 on. So 2 walks in the inning have something going for the Expos. 2 on, 1 out for Warren Cromartie. And we'll roll the havoc. Dawson is being held at second base. Pitch to Cromartie. 1-4. That's a ground ball, second base A. It's going to go as a 4-6-3 double play, just what the doctor ordered. Sachs, Russell, and Garvey. And that's going to end the inning. So we go to the 7th, still tied at 1. Charlie Lee had fatigue of 6, but he gave up nothing, so he's still good to go on his fatigue level. So no worries there. Now the pitcher, Welch, is set to bat third this inning, but I don't know if you want to take him out or not. It depends on I guess if they get anybody on base. That's one of those decisions you got to make in the National League. In the American League, you don't have to worry about such things, which is why I like National League Baseball. All right, here's Scioscia. Well, that's a different topic for a different time. 3-10 for Scioscia, struck him out. And of course, if they get 2 up and 2 down, the bases are clear, they're going to go ahead and let Welch hit, I do believe. Here's Russell. 6-3. Ground ball pitcher X. He's a 4-E8. 4-E8 for Charlie Lee. 4 and a 9. That is a 9. That is a 9 because the 6 is over here with the little dot. So that is a 9. So we're looking on the pitcher chart for a 4 and a 9. 4 to 9 is a G3, so we will get to it. That is a 9 itself over here, and he's an E8. So pitcher E8, there is no 9, so it's a tough play, but Charlie Lee makes it. 2 up and 2 down, and with the bases clear, they're going to go ahead and let Welch swing away. 6-7, struck him out, so it didn't matter. He struck out twice on his own card. Now he strikes out on this card. There's a dot, but he's not tired because he hasn't given up anything. In fact, Lee has retired now 3, 6, 9, 12, 13 in a row by Charlie Lee. So we go to the 7th inning stretch here at Olympic Stadium, still tied at a run apiece, and this will be the fatigue inning for Bob Welch. So keep an eye on that as well. For the Expos, it'll be Wallach, Spire, and Flynn. And if anybody gets on, Lee is the scheduled hitter, and they may go ahead and go to the bullpen, depending on if they need that offense or not. But since it's a 7th inning stretch, I'm going to go ahead and stand up and stretch. Check my setup, make sure everything's still in view and whatnot. And I think everything still looks copacetic as best I can tell. So I'm going to go ahead and drive on. Tim Wallach, 0 for 2, 2 flyouts. Welch, 6-9, struck him out. So Welch still has some gas in the tank. Welch trying to put the Expos in a jam. So now here we go with Chris Spire. 6-7, and that's a 1-6 single. That is a 9 though. Remember on this D20, that's the 9 and that's the 6. So this was in fact a 9. You needed a 1 through 6, so instead he lines it to Ron Say for out number 2. Worn out these blue D20s. I probably ought to use a different color. All right, so that's going to bring up Doug Flynn. 2 outs and the base is clear. 4-8, and that's a fly to center. So goose eggs abound. We go to the 8th, still tied at 1. Charlie Lee is set to lead off next inning, but they're certainly going to come out and start now, so that if they can get 8 innings out of Lee, they'll be very happy. Steve Sachs to lead it off. Started out like gangbusters with a double and a triple, but did strike out his 3rd time. Lee, 2-8. Look at that, 2-8, the home run chance. I said the only chance he has of the cycle is to get a 2-8, and then they get a 1-6 on the D20. But unfortunately for him, that's that 9 again that looks like it might be a 6, but the 6 is over here. So that is a 9, so it's a fly to left. But boy, how close could he have come potentially to a cycle by doing that? Of course, he haven't had the single yet, but if this game goes extras, he could have gotten it. So Landreau, 1-8, and that's a ground ball back to Lee. So both offenses now definitely hurting as the pitching is just ruling the day. Here's Pedro Guerrero. It may just take a solo homer to end this thing. 6-7, that won't happen. That's a strikeout. There's a dot, but he hasn't given up anything to be tired, so he's still rolling along here. And we go to the bottom of the 8th. It's still tied at 1, and you hate to take him out, but he's leading off the next inning, and you need offense. So this is the thing. If he was in the American League, he might still be pitching, but here we're going to end it. Charlie Lee is going to go 8 innings. Give up just the 1 run. Check his hits allowed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's it. He hasn't given up anything since the 3rd inning. So he pitches 8 innings, gives up 5 hits and a run. Check his walks and strikeouts. The only walk he had was to Guerrero. So he had the 1 walk. And strikeouts, he had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 strikeouts. So the line on Lee, 8 innings pitched, 5 hits, 1 run. It was earned, a walk, and 9 strikeouts. He's either going to get a win if the Expos can score this inning or a no decision. And that's pretty tough for making that kind of a offensive stand and having nothing to show for it. All right, Bob Welch is going to come back out because he has no knocks against his point of weakness, and he's pitching very well. Expos will bring in Terry Francona to pinch hit to lead things off as they try to get something started. So Terry Francona will pinch hit here to start off the 8th inning. He hit 321 and 131 at bats for the Expos, mostly a singles hitter in this particular season. In fact, everything on his card is a single. There's one little measly chance at a double, not much, but It's primarily just singles, you know, all over the place. He's a swinging singles, I guess you could call him. So here is Welch to Francona, the pinch hitter. Bottom of the 8th, tied at 1, 2-6, and he found one of those singles. So Francona gets aboard. Now, do you bring somebody into pinch run because he's not a very good runner, and you've got a loaded bench, so there's definitely guys out there that you can bring in to run. Who do they wish to do that? Although their bench is honestly not that great with runners. You could bring in Jerry White. I think they're going to bring in Jerry White to pinch hit. He runs at a 16 versus a 13, plus he's a C stealer, so they might have to respect and hold him on. In fact, they will have to hold him on. So we're going to have Jerry White coming in to pinch run. So White will be the pinch runner for Francona. So White's the pinch runner. He runs at a 16. In fact, I forgot to write, well, no, the run range are over here, so I'll put his number down as a 16 so I know about it. To get a jump, he's a 2 through 8, but he can also get picked off 3 times. There's 3 numbers that gets him, so he's not going to go anywhere. Oops, wrong team. He's not going to go anywhere. And Tim Raines is up. Tim Raines, pretty good bunter, so he could try to bunt and get the big guys involved. I think he will. So we're going with a sacrifice bunt for Tim Raines. He's a B bunter, becomes a C bunter with the corners in. And we get a 4. So we check the C bunter, C4, that's kind of the explosive thing. And how about that? We get a speed roll, which means he's got a chance to beat this thing out going by his run rating. His run rating's a 17, so as long as this D20 is a 17 or less, he beats it out for a base hit. And he does. How about that? He tried to sacrifice and he ended up getting a base hit on top of it. Runners at first and second with nobody out. Dodger bullpen is now in activity. It's got activity going as they have the left-hander, Steve Howe, and the right-hander, Tom Niedenfuhr. They got their 2, I guess you call them closers, because they can't afford to give up a run now. So they're both loosening in the bullpen. Oliver is a lefty coming up. He's not much of a bunter, so I think they're going to have him swing away. And Welch is going to stay in there to face Oliver. First the havoc roll. Nothing happening. Welch to Oliver. And Oliver hits lefties and righties pretty equally. 3-5, and that's a single, but it's only 1 star. It's going to load the bases for the Expos. Bases are loaded now with nobody out. And now what do you do with Welch as he is on the brink of fatigue? Do you bring in Tom Niedenfuhr, the right-hander, is the question. That's a tough call for Lasorda, but I think he's going to make it. Tom Niedenfuhr is going to come in. That's going to be all for Mr. Welch. He is done, and he did fine work for 7 innings, then ran into trouble here in the 8th. Can't close the book on Welch yet because runners are on base. He pitches 7+. And he's going to give up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hits. So far the 1 run, but the 3 on base are his responsibility. He did walk quite a few. He walked 1, 2, 3. So he walked 3. And he struck out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Struck out 6. So we can't fill in this number yet. It can be anything from 1 to 4. And now Niedenfuhr is on in relief. In the 82 season, he was 3-4, 2.71 ERA and 9 saves. So Tom Niedenfuhr is on to face the Hawk, Andre Dawson. The infield has to come in. When you're this late, you can't afford to give up anything. And now Jeff Reardon is loosening in the Expo bullpen as he's anticipating a save opportunity in the 9th inning. So Niedenfuhr, havoc roll for Niedenfuhr. Nothing's happening. Infield is in for Andre Dawson. It's a tough situation for the Dodgers to be in, but they have no choice. Niedenfuhr needs a strikeout in the worst way or a pop-out or something. We get a 6-7. That's a ground ball, second base X. That's Sachs. He's a 2E21. So let's see what happens here. A 2E21. 2 and an 11. Let's check the 2 and 11 for second baseman. A 2 and an 11 is a G1. 2 and 11 is a G1, and that is a 12. check his error. He is an E21. E21, and that's an 11. There is no 11. So now we go to the chart. Bases loaded on a G1 with the infield in. DP 2-3. So how about that? Sachs will go to the plate for Scioscia to get the force, and then Scioscia will do the return throw to first to double up Dawson for a 4-2-3 double play. Raines will take third base. Oliver will take second base. But Niedenfuhr got a huge out from Andre Dawson. Now there's 2 outs for Gary Carter. And if you intentionally walk Gary Carter, you got Cromartie. So which one do you want to face? Carter, the better hitter, but he's right-handed versus left-handed. So do you play the percentages, or do you, I think you're gonna pitch to Carter because Niedenfuhr, you don't want to have the bases loaded again where a walk could force a run in. So I think they're going to have to pitch to Carter. The infield is back in their normal depth. Havoc roll for Niedenfuhr, nothing happening. Niedenfuhr to Carter. 2-8 for Carter. 1-18 is a single. That's a 3. That's a base hit. 1 star, so only Raines can score, but the Expos now take a 2-1 lead on a tremendous base hit from Gary Carter. He breaks the tie. It is now 2-1. And maybe you're thinking maybe we should have walked him. I don't know. Niedenfuhr will exit with the lefty Cromartie coming on. They're going to go to Steve Howe out of the bullpen to make sure they don't give up any more runs, or at least to improve their chances in that particular category. Steve Howe in the 82 season, 7-5, a 2.08 ERA and 13 saves. So Steve Howe will be coming on. Maybe we should have walked Carter and brought in Howe to face Cromartie. There's all kinds of second guessing you can do on that. But in the heat of the moment, they decided to pitch to Carter and it just didn't work out for him. So Niedenfuhr is going to go 2/3 of an inning. And we can close the book on Welch. His 2 runs are what he allowed. He is subject to take the loss, however. And now Lee is in line for the win because of the scoring the run. So Howe will come on and pitch, and Niedenfuhr goes 2/3 of an inning, gives up a hit, and nothing else. Oh, really, I shouldn't put the 0 for the runs because the runner on first base is his responsibility. And actually, I shouldn't finish off Welch because the runner at third is his responsibility. So maybe I was premature there. But they're hoping Steve Howe can get out Cromartie. Runners on the corners and 2 outs. Carter will not be held at first. Nothing on the Havoc for Howe. 2 Cromartie. Lefty on lefty. 4-7. That's a 1-13 single, and that's a 2, so that's a base hit. So I was premature. We actually have 3 runs charged to Welch right now, and Niedenfuhr still has a chance to give up a run as well. But it's 3 runs now for Welch because the bullpen couldn't hold it. So a 2-run inning by the Expos as Cromartie comes through with a base hit as well. So, walking Carter, I guess, necessarily wouldn't have mattered because Cromartie came through anyway. So runners at first and second, nobody's being held on. 2 runs are in. Jeff Reardon is ready in the bullpen to come in the 9th. And now here's Wallach. And you might as well stick with Howe. He's the best you got. 6-4. That's a fly ball center field X. That's Landreau. He's not the best. 4-E6. Doesn't cover much ground, but a 4 and a 14 will take care of it. So at least that'll get him out of the jam. 4 and a 14, although we got to check on E14, or we got to check on a 14 off of an E6. E6, there's a 15, but no 14. And then a 4 and a 14 turns out to be a F2. So he does get out of the inning, makes the tough catch. Close the book on Howe. He goes 1/3 of an inning, gives up a hit, and nothing else. Niedenfuhr didn't give up any runs either. But now it is 3-1 Expos as we go to the top of the 9th. Top of the 9th. Last chance for the Expos, or last chance rather for the Dodgers, and they will have to do it against the closer, Jeff Reardon. And on the 82 season, Reardon was 7-4. Whoops, put it down here. 7-4 with a 2.06 ERA and 26 saves. So Jeff Reardon trying to protect a 3-1 lead and give the Expos a 2-0 lead heading out west to California for Game 3 And if they don't come back, the pressure will be on Jerry Royce to continue the series and defeat Bill Gullickson in the Expos. Right now, though, it's Garvey, Say, and Baker, so you got your good hitters up if you're the Dodgers. Heart of the order, but they got to do it against Jeff Reardon. And Lee is, like I said, is in line for the win. He is the pitcher of record right now for the Expos to get the win unless Reardon blows it. Here's Reardon to Garvey. 2-7, and that's a ground ball to second. Flynn is there, one away. Whoops, wrong side. Why am I down on the Expo side? It should be up here. Not sure why I did that, but either way, we'll get rid of that. 4-3 ground out. Garvey is out of there. Expos 2 outs away from taking a 2-0 lead. Here's the Penguin, Ron Say. Reardon to Say, 5-9, struck him out. So 2 down. And they're down to the last hope, and it's the Lizard, Dusty Baker. Reardon, 3-9 to Baker. Foul out to third base. Wallach gloves it, and the ball game is over. Lasorda hangs his head. He knew he had a chance, but couldn't quite pull it off. Reardon goes 1 inning, gives up nothing with a strikeout. So the Dodgers finished with just 1 run on 5 hits, no errors. For the Expos, 3 runs on 8 hits, no errors. And the Expos now take a 2-0 lead back to California with them as they win it 3-1. Final line score, 3 runs, 8 hits, no errors for the Expos. 1 run, 5 hits, no errors for the Dodgers. Winning pitcher Charlie Lee, loser Bob Welch, and the save to Jeff Reardon. In Game 3, we'll look at the starters for Game 3. For the Expos, they will go with right-hander Bill Gullickson. And on the 82 season, Bill Gullickson, let's move this out of the way. On the 82 season, Bill Gullickson was 12-14, but a very respectable ERA of 3.57 in 34 starts. And he'll be opposed by the lefty Jerry Royce of the Dodgers, 18-11 with a 3.11 ERA. And then if it goes to a Game 4, then most likely the Expos would turn to Scott Sanderson, but we don't know what the Dodgers would do. They probably will come back with Fernando because he didn't pitch very much in Game 1, so he shouldn't need a whole lot of rest. But Gullickson and Royce are your matchups in Game 3. And the scene will shift to Dodger Stadium. So the Dodgers are hoping maybe the home cooking will help them. We shall see. Didn't do much for them being north of the border. So the Expos take a 2-0 lead into Dodger Stadium as they try to sweep the Dodgers and get ready for whoever wins the American League. So that's going to do it from here. Once again, from Olympic Stadium, final score, Expos 3, Dodgers 1. Until next time, enjoy playing whatever game you choose to play, however you choose to play it, and I will see you all down the road.